How's it going, everyone? As you can tell from the title of today's video, I have a strong feeling that NEVS is done, or at the very least, it's struggling even more than we kind of initially had thought. So, for those of you not aware of what NEVS is, if you're a Saab enthusiast, you probably have heard of them at least once before, but NEVS stands for National Electric Vehicle Sweden, and basically they are the closest thing that we have left to Saab. They announced, I've done a handful of videos on the channel on them just kind of over the last 2 to 3 years as they've been releasing more and more news on what's going on. But basically, I think it was almost a year ago at this point, their new 9.3, their electric 9.3 was slated to go into production in China. And every now and then I still get questions on it, and quite frankly, there is almost no information, at least in English, out there on what is going on with NEVS. The point of this video was to initially just give an update and kind of speculate as to what's going on with NEVS, but actually a couple hours before I sat down to make this, I came across a couple articles that present some pretty unfortunate information, and I'll tell you why I think that here in a minute. So the news that I saw in this article that was released basically says that the founder of NEVS has decided to leave. So this is the guy who founded NEVS and created NEVS, and it's basically come to a point where he's had to sell the last remaining bit of stake that he had in the company. I believe it was around 18%. 17% of his shares is what he had left. Evergrande, I'm not sure how that's pronounced, owns the rest of the company. If you remember my last update video, or if you've been following NEVS, you'll know that Evergrande bought half of NEVS, I think about a year ago, and then in November they acquired, I think, up to 83% of NEVS. And now, with this news, Evergrande has complete ownership of NEVS. So with Evergrande having full ownership of NEVS now, this is both a good thing and a bad thing in my mind. For one, it means that hopefully they can provide more financial stability. That was kind of my thinking when they first bought half stake in NEVS about a year ago. But clearly that hasn't really panned out. One article here that I read said that NEVS reported losses of upwards of 300 million euros last year, and the company itself is only valued at about 2 billion euros or 2 billion USD around. So for comparison, 2 billion USD is not a whole lot. I have a couple other values that I pulled up just for comparison. I mean, Saab was never a huge company, and NEVS is obviously not a big company either. But comparing it to like Toyota, 211 billion, GM, 52 billion, Honda, 42 billion, BMW, 42 billion, Tesla, 39 billion, Ford, 36 billion. So these are all big companies, of course. That just shows that 2 billion in the car world isn't really a whole lot. It's not a very big company. So losing 300 million euros in your value, that's like a seventh of your value that you lost last year, which is a pretty significant percent. That's like 14 or 15%. That's pretty big. That would be equivalent to a company like Volkswagen, who's worth 80 billion, losing like 12 billion in money last year. So kind of just a comparison there percentage-wise. So obviously not good times for NEVS. And that makes me think that they've really struggled with production. Again, I saw that they went in production about a year ago. They started production in China. They're supposed to start production in Sweden too, in the old Saab plant, which I think is great because it helps keep people in Sweden, especially Saab people, employed. But this article from Saab blog here, and I'll link this below, says that there will be no production in Trollhättan before 2023. So go ahead and push that production that we thought was going to start in Trollhättan, push that back another 3 years. There's kind of mention of COVID being a reason for part of this, and I can understand that, but at some point, you know, it's just, I don't want to say financial irresponsibility, but they're just, and as the lights are flickering, hopefully that's not affecting the lighting in here too much, but hopefully that financial hardship, I won't call it irresponsibility because I'm sure they're not just throwing money out the door. Hopefully that's, you know, I don't think that's all due to COVID, because it's been a recurring struggle ever since the company started 8 years ago. And in my opinion, I don't really see this going anywhere good anytime soon, which really sucks. And it makes me wonder if we'll really ever truly see NEVS 9.3s all over China and all over Sweden like we thought we were going to see within 5 or 10 years, because it's been 2 or 3 years, and as far as I know, and as far as people that have talked to me that live in Sweden have told me, not very common, or they haven't seen any at all. But if you live in Sweden, please comment down below, because you know better than me. I live in America and we don't have them here. So having a big company or corporation like Evergrande owning NEVS is good news in the sense that hopefully they can finally bring some financial stability, which so far doesn't look like they have been able to. But the other thing is that Evergrande, which is primarily a real estate company, has been struggling a lot due to COVID and has been losing a lot of money. So I hope that they don't kind of become like a GM 2.0 in a way, and basically say, all right, NEVS is losing us more money. We're already losing money with our real estate stuff, so we're just gonna have to cut NEVS and kill them. So that's my fear, is that something like that's gonna happen. I hope that they can turn it around. I guess we'll see. If anyone has any more insightful information, feel free to share it below. But those are really just my thoughts. Is NEVS done? No, they're not. But in my opinion, at least, it looks like they're certainly on their way out, which sucks. I've been trying to stay so positive about this. I mean, there's a lot of talk in the Saab community that we shouldn't even support this because it's not even anything Saab, it's electric, all this other bullshit that I just quite frankly think is stupid. And I think that we should support it regardless because it's the only thing left that we have resembling Saab. But that aside, I've been kind of becoming more of a realist in the sense that clearly there's still so much ambiguity and there's so much gray area that we have no idea what's really going on there. So hopefully, hopefully we can get some more clear information soon. Hopefully we can see like maybe some cool test drive videos, like maybe just a YouTube channel reviewing one or something, like just some proof that, you know, they're on the streets and people are buying them, because to me it just seems like something that we just have no information on, unless you're close to the company, or I don't know. But any information I find in English is pretty much very vague and not very helpful, just like this video. So with that being said, if you live in Sweden or you live in China or you happen to know additional information about NEVS, please comment that below and enlighten myself and everyone else wondering. But like I said, I don't know how this is going to turn out, but I'm trying to remain optimistic, but at the same time, it isn't looking super great in my opinion. So if you enjoyed this video, which I'm not sure why you would because it's not a happy video in any way, give it a thumbs up. I'll see you all next time.